A town is cursed, and anyone who lives there, or even visits it, begins to experience grotesque, horrifying events. And all of them have one thing in common: spirals. That's the premise of the anime I'm covering today, Uzumaki, based on one of the most iconic works by Junji Ito. Back in 2000, it got a live-action adaptation, which, let's just say, wasn't very well received. But now, in 2024, we finally got an anime adaptation, and honestly, it's been controversial. The first episode, people loved it. The animation was beautiful, clean, haunting, almost hypnotic. But as more episodes came out, the quality dropped hard, to the point where even the studio admitted that each episode that ended up looking worse than the last, mainly because multiple animation studios were involved. Everything takes place in the town of Kuruzu, where we meet Kirigashima, a student, daughter of a potter named Yasuo. Basically, he works making ceramic pieces. She has a mother named Shizuku, a younger brother named Mitsuo, and a boyfriend she has known since childhood named Shuichi Saito. Shuichi studies outside the town, and every time he comes back by train, Kiri goes to wait for him at the station so they can walk home together. The problem starts when one day he arrives and suggests that they should escape from the town. Kiri takes it as something romantic until he mentions it's because the town is cursed. You can imagine Kiri's face of disappointment. She probably already had her bags packed, and it's not just any curse. It's the curse of spirals. According to him, he saw the water current forming spirals, the wind forming spirals, the sky forming spirals, even the grass forms spirals. And then he says something even worse. His father turned into a spiral. Apparently, he and his mother, Yuki, noticed that his father, Toshio, had been acting strange for days. He stopped going to work. He only collected spiral-shaped objects. He even went to Kiri's father to ask for a ceramic piece with a spiral in the middle. And while saying it, he sounded extremely obsessed, like he was losing his mind. And honestly, it really looked like he was. During dinner, he got angry because the food in his soup didn't form spirals. So he started stirring it and just stared at it. Before taking a bath, he would swirl the water in the tub to create a whirlpool. He could even twist his eyes in opposite directions. But the worst part of all? When Kiri went to bring him the ceramic piece he had asked for, he said he didn't need it anymore because he understood that everyone can create spirals on their own. Then he said, "Look what I learned," and twisted his own tongue into a spiral. Kiri got so scared that she ran away. At this point, Shuichi and his mother were so worried that they went to a psychiatric hospital to have him admitted. But when they returned home, they found a bathtub. And inside, it was Toshio, twisted into a spiral. Of course, they told everyone he fell down the stairs because who is going to believe that you come home and find your father twisted like that inside a bathtub? But during the funeral, after cremating his body, the smoke formed a spiral in the sky, which was then absorbed by the town's lake. But before disappearing completely, Yuki saw her husband's face inside the spiral, which drove her even more insane. From that point on, she couldn't see a spiral without seeing her husband's face calling her, inviting her to become a spiral just like him. So she started getting rid of every spiral around her. She pulled out her hair because her hairstyle formed a spiral. She cut off her fingertips because fingerprints form spirals. Even Shuichi and the nurses had to enter covering their hands so they wouldn't scare her. She ended up hospitalized, and Shuichi became more and more worried. The craziest part is that at the same time, other things were happening. At school, we meet more characters. There's Toku Katayama, the overweight kid who gets bullied for being extremely slow. Seriously, he's way too slow, to the point that he looks like a snail. And just like a snail, he only shows up to school on rainy days and is always covered in slime. Then there's Kazuki Sumura, the one who bullies him. One day, while messing with him, everyone saw that on his back there was a spiral, and over time, it kept swelling more and more. We also meet Azami Kurotani, Kiri's classmate, who doesn't even live in the town, she just studies there. For some reason, she is the center of attention for all the boys. There's not a single guy who can resist her. According to her, it's because of the scar on her forehead. A crescent-shaped scar she got as a child, trying to get the attention of a boy she liked. She definitely got his attention because she tripped and hit her face. But ever since then, every guy stares at her and asks her out. She even has a stalker who keeps following her despite being rejected multiple times. One day, Azami wanted to meet Kiri's boyfriend because she wouldn't stop talking about him. So Kiri took her to the train station. But when Shuichi saw Azami, he got scared and ran away, telling Kiri that he felt the presence of the spiral in her. And let's just say, Azami didn't like that at all. She's used to everyone being obsessed with her. So now she became obsessed with him. She started following him, asking why he was the only one who didn't want her. Her obsession kept growing. Her scar started expanding, forming a spiral on her head. It kept growing more and more until she had to wear a hat to hide it. But eventually, the spiral consumed her, and she disappeared. And that was just the beginning of the disasters. People started noticing that when bodies were cremated, the smoke always formed spirals. So they stopped cremating and started burying the dead instead. Kiri also started being followed by a boy named Mitsuru, known as the Jack-in-the-Box, because he appears out of nowhere and scares people. He says he's in love with her, but she rejects him because she's already with Shuichi. So to prove his love, he decides to stop a car using the power of his feelings and dies instantly. His body ends up twisted into a spiral in the wheel. Meanwhile, Shuichi explains that the spiral curse feeds on attention. It forces people to do strange and disturbing things so others will look at them. For example, people started walking in circles without realizing it. Kiri's hair began growing into spirals and developed a life of its own. It even hypnotized people who looked at it. This caused a rivalry with another girl, Kyoko, who also wanted attention. Her hair also turned into spirals and eventually consumed her life. Meanwhile, Toku fully transformed into a snail. Kazuki, the bully, also turned into one. They were locked in a shed, but escaped into the forest, where they reproduced. A teacher suggested destroying their eggs to prevent more snail people. Later, a couple from rival families tried to escape, but when they were cornered, they twisted their bodies together into a spiral and sank into the sea. Then the lighthouse incident happened. It turned on by itself, burning people alive. Kiri barely escaped. At the hospital, pregnant women began attacking patients and drinking their blood. Babies started talking, saying they wanted to return to the womb. They grew new placenta around themselves. And a doctor started cooking and feeding that to patients. The situation got worse. The curse spread everywhere. Storms, tornadoes, spiral-shaped disasters, people mutating, houses merging, everything turning into spirals. Escape became impossible. The roads looped back. The forest trapped people. The ocean created whirlpools. Eventually, Kiri and Shuichi reached the center. The lake was gone. Instead, there was a staircase leading down. At the bottom, they found a massive spiral structure filled with human bodies twisted together. There, Kiri found her parents, turned into stone. Time passed. The town was eventually rebuilt. New people arrived, and the spiral started again, because this curse never ends. And that's it for today's story. If you enjoyed this video and want more content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. This is Neko Noir, your favorite black cat. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.